Raise your hand if you're one of those people who constantly has a ton of ideas written down in your notebook for projects that you want to work on, but sometimes you just don't know how to start it. You're intimidated by the whole process of going through the project from start to finish and seeing the whole thing through. This video is for you, so stick around if you want to know what I do to get into flow. One of the things that people struggle with most when getting started is deciding exactly what project they want to work on. If you have a bunch of ideas and you're just as passionate about each of those ideas, it can come to a decision paralysis sort of situation. I actually just think that it doesn't matter which project you choose, because no matter what, you can always circle back to those other projects. So don't worry too much about which one. Just flip a coin if you have to. You just have to get started. When I am starting a creative project, the whole idea is to set up the environment in a way that makes me feel inspired and ready to create. I kind of want to be transported into a different dimension, if you will. I want to feel like I'm not just sitting in my living room or sitting in my bedroom or whatever room I happen to be in. It needs to be a space that almost feels transcendent, a nice, vague space. In that type of environment, I find it so much easier to let my thoughts flow and to let my brain wander. The very first thing that I like to do is to clean the area. I like to start with doing a house cleaning because for the next 4 or 5 days, I could very well be hyper-focusing on this project, and I don't want to be thinking throughout the entire time, man, I wish that I would have swept the floor, it's so dirty in here, or the sink is full of dishes and what am I gonna do later for food? And I don't want to have those thoughts, so the very first thing I like to take care of is the environment. Get the kitchen to a space where if I want to cook a meal, then it would be super easy and it won't take me away from my project for too long. I also stock the fridge. While I'm in the midst of a project, I can just get up, make myself a sandwich, and then get back to it. And it makes it so much easier to just not have those things on your mind. It makes it easier to get into flow. I like to appeal to the senses. One of the ways that you can transport yourself into a different headspace is to light different scents. I am obsessed with wax melts. I love this company called Spireside. They make these wax melts that if you go to their website, you'll just read the descriptions. They all have different stories, and they're really intense stories too. Some of them are on a pirate's ship or in an old Victorian house, or a lot of times it's fantasy style places, things like that. I love that company because those types of smells are very different. They're not just your typical candle that you get at the store. So yeah, check out Spireside if you want some interesting smells. But I do wax melts a lot. I do incense a lot if I'm able to open the windows. Just something that really sets the mood. So we've got the house clean and we've got some nice scents going. The environment is starting to build, and that's what we want. We want it to feel like, wow, we're not in our living room. I always, without fail, I always have to have a drink on hand that I love. Tea or coffee. It's usually tea when I'm working on stuff, creative stuff, because I will drink so much coffee probably and just get shaky hands, and I don't want that. So I make a nice tea, whatever is my favorite type. I love Earl Grey lavender. Just pick your favorite beverage. It doesn't matter what it is, but the beverage that makes you go, yes, yes, I need this in my life, that you just get excited to drink. This is all about building the environment and building excitement. Okay, so now, clean house, we got the smells going, we've got a nice beverage. I also like to have snacks on hand, savory and sweet. Sometimes I make cookies I can snack on throughout the project. I don't know what it is, and I don't know why, but when I'm working on a creative project, I literally have to have something right next to me. I need it right there for me to eat as I'm painting. I'll paint a little bit and then I'll grab a little snacky snack. And it helps me a lot. I'm sure there's like some kind of science to that. I can't tell you what it is, but I just know that it helps me. I really don't think there's anything wrong with a little indulgence while you're in the middle of a project. We've got all the things we want to consume and all of our places in a nice order. We're feeling the vibes that we've created for ourselves. It's that container. We're creating an amazing container for ourselves to input creativity. This might be one of the harder ones for people to do, but I think it's really important to not have something that's like extremely distracting while you're creating. Like Jersey Shore, don't put that on. Any kind of thing that if it's tempting for you to look over at the TV and just stare at it and it will take you away from your project, that's not what you want. You want something ambient enough. I love ambient music. I also love just any kind of music that gets me hype. Getting some music going that inspires you is going to be really helpful during this process. I put on so many different types of music, and sometimes I really want to get hype. So sometimes I literally just put on Doja Cat or the Spice Girls or something like that so I can get my head going, get into the vibe. And other times it's more gothic metal, symphonic metal. That's my favorite genre of music, and so it's kind of a go-to for a lot of my work. Whatever you listen to that makes you feel so, I don't know if I necessarily want to say happy, but you listen to those lyrics and you're like, yes, yes, yes. Your whole body says yes. And you want to sing along and you want to become the music. That's what you're looking for, that kind of music. And it'll differ depending on your mood. So don't be afraid to experiment with like different types of music and different artists that you like. And you could listen to a podcast. I've done that before too. I don't do it as often as I do music, but I do think podcasts are a lot less distracting than TV. Think about when you were in high school. When I was in high school, I would lock myself away in my room for hours, just like doodling and sketching, and I would blast the music really loud, and that was my way at the time of getting into the flow. It took no time at all, and I was just feeling the music, I was just feeling the vibes, and that's what you want to channel. You want to channel those high school, teenagery, getting moody, getting amped up, whatever it is. That's what you want to channel. I think you're really appealing to all your senses here. You have the auditory, listening to something that inspires you, smelling something that inspires you. The environment is nice and clean. You're eating delicious things. All of that helps. For me, when I have already started on a project, it's easy for me to not get pulled away from it, thinking about it throughout my day, whether I'm working on it or not. And it's really easy for me to not pull away from the project for very long. Usually it's every opportunity that I get, I am working on it. My next piece of advice would be to try not to distance yourself from the project too much while you're in it. You could be a couple days into the project and maybe you have to go to work or you have other responsibilities, but if you can even get 10 minutes of working on the project after work, even if you're not able to work on it as long as you want to, but you have 10 minutes, connect back to it. Keep connecting back to it, because I feel like if I ever get pulled away from a project, it makes it harder to get back into the flow the next time. You know, don't distance yourself too much from it. Keep thinking about it. Try and remind yourself about it throughout the day while you're at work. Try and take inspiration from different places throughout your day. It's kind of exciting to go about your day and think about, if you're having a mundane day, to actually bring some excitement back into your day by thinking about the project and what around you is really inspiring and really exciting to bring into it. Maybe there's something that somebody says to you that is like a piece of advice someone gives you, something someone says that you're like, I think I want to incorporate that somehow. Or maybe you see something outside and you're like, that's pretty cool, I'm glad that I saw that, I could use that. Yeah, just always be thinking about it. When I get into a creative flow, I feel so connected to it that things around me start to almost disappear. Any responsibilities that I have besides this, I just don't even think about them. They're not even in my brain at all. My mind starts to clear, and it's really nice. It's really great to have something that while you work on it, you're really not worried and you don't have anxiety, you don't have fear, you don't have any kind of negative emotion really. It's just exciting and it's just pure immersion into what you're working on. This state can be achieved doing a lot of different types of things for different people. Some people are able to get into this mindset while they're running. Some people are able to get into this mindset while they're doing dishes or laundry, while they're doing something super mundane. But doing creative projects can put people into this state as well. And if you've been there, you know. If you know, you know. It's important for us creative people to be able to create a really nice environment for ourselves in order to make the things that we want to make and do the things that we want to do. I truly believe that no matter where you live, even if you live with other people, even if you have a smaller space or you're limited with your location, I really do believe that anyone can get themselves into this headspace and into this mindset. It's really just a matter of making a few tweaks in your environment to feel really great, to feel amazing. Anything that you can do to feel that way, I think you should go ahead and do it. Once you get your house clean and you get your food prepared and you make yourself a nice cup of tea and you've been freshly showered and you're wearing things that like inspire you and that you love, and you're sitting down at your desk, which hopefully you've cleaned off, and you have this nice open area, feel so expanded and so ready to get started. Sometimes even if you are in a mental space where you just feel kind of anxious and a little overwhelmed, it might be a good practice also just before you get started on your project to just write down the things that are bothering you, or to do some kind of exercise where you can try to clear your mind, because those types of things can really make it hard sometimes to feel like you're ready to take on something new if you already feel overwhelmed. So I think that my advice would be, if there's anything particular that you do in order to clear your mind or to make yourself feel lighter, I would go ahead and do that. And for me, if my mind was full of junk, I would journal, I would do yoga. Those two things pretty much do it for me. Maybe even talking to some people if I need to, getting some encouragement. A lot of these things feel really obvious, but I hope I was able to help some creatives out there who are a little scared and overwhelmed to start a project to just go ahead and get started. You can do it. Just create the beautiful oasis of your dreams to get ready. And I really believe that like preparation is everything. And if you do that, you're gonna be so zoned out into this project, you are gonna be getting through it even quicker than you could have imagined. I hope that you've taken some inspiration. Leave down in the comments, please comment down below ideas that you have or things that you do to really help yourself get in the flow. And also if you have any other ideas of things that inspire you while you're working on a project, comment that down below as well. And I will see you in the next video.